Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming in. We're going to give everyone a minute to come in because I see everyone filing in. So while we're waiting for people to jump on in, why don't you let me know in the chat where you're from? I'd love to see where everyone is. I got a pretty good idea because I do recognize a lot of the names of the people here. But if you could let me know in the chat where you guys are from, that would be great. Where is everyone? Ooh, we got some Ottawa. Nice. Oakville, Mississauga, Nanaimo, Ottawa. I've been in Ottawa a lot this year, actually. We got a good chunk of BC, which is also why we do this at 1 p.m. Eastern. So we get people from across the country coming because 9 a.m. Not really fair for you guys. Oh, I got some Nova Scotia, Lethbridge, Winnipeg. Nice. Basically all across the country. That's what I like to see. All right. And then, as always, we do take questions. So if during this you have questions, you can put them in the Q&A. We'll do our best to answer ones in the chat. But to be honest, sometimes chat can move quickly and it can be hard to keep up. If not, I'll try to do my best to answer questions in the chat. But the Q&A, if you want answers to a question, is the best place to do it, okay? We'll also have Jen and Aaron from my team. They might be in the comments helping out. But either way, one of the three of us will answer your questions during this. But today what we're doing is basically we want to talk to you about the social selling system. So this is something we've developed over years. So one thing I've noticed, and I see this all the time, and I'd love to hear from the chat, if this resonates with you, this part of a lot of people spend a lot of time posting on social, spending time on social, and they're getting impressions, they're getting likes and comments, but they're not seeing clients come enough from it. So it's you're getting this first part, but you haven't bridged that gap necessarily from I'm on social to I'm getting clients consistently and predictably from it. And this is a huge challenge we see. And having now been with my agency for 9 years, working with agents, training agents for a year before that, and then being an agent myself for a couple of years, we've kind of taken everything we've learned and turned it into this social selling system of here's what we see that drives results, and you can get clients consistently from social. So that's what we're going to show you today is this system that we know works to get clients through social. It's been tested. It works. We know it works, but it does take a little bit of effort. So it's not something you can just come on and do quickly and easily without putting in the work. So we're going to go through that today and kind of show you what will work to get results in your business. So the key thing to remember, especially with social, is that you're in sales. A lot of people kind of build their social presence more like they're trying to be an influencer. And the influencer business model is more partnership ad revenue related. And that's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to get signed clients in your car, get to their kitchen table, stuff like that. The influencer model is very different. Your goal as an influencer is just to get as many people to see it as you can so that you're almost monetizing the audience that you have. And that's not really the model you're doing. I mean, if you want to go that route, you certainly can, and you can get clients from that to a degree, but that's not the model. We're going to teach you more of a sales-driven model of social that gets results. And it's not about becoming an influencer because that's not the model that is the most predictable. And the influencer model only works if you have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. This can work with 500 followers, 200 followers, 1,000 followers. Obviously, the more you have of the right type of followers, the better it will work. But you don't need a massive following to make this work in your business. And this is one thing, and this is not just related to what we're talking about here with organic social. This is related to every type of lead gen you do. One of the big things we see in real estate is people making the mistake of confusing a lead and a prospect. So when a lot of people say, Facebook leads didn't work for me, online leads didn't work for me, they weren't good quality, they're often expecting a prospect over a lead. In B2B marketing and corporate marketing, you hear a lot this term called MQLs, SQLs. So an MQL is a marketing qualified lead, and an SQL is a sales qualified lead. All a marketing qualified lead, which is what typically in real estate we refer to as a lead, is someone who's put up their hand with an interest in the topic, right? So they might put up their hand and say, I want to find out what my home was worth. That's a marketing qualified lead. We don't yet know if those people are sales qualified leads. And that's a really important distinction because if we don't know which one they are, we're going to have to do that, right? you have to know which one they are along the line, or there's going to be challenges that you have throughout. So if they're a sales qualified lead, we know they're moving, but we don't know if they're moving with us yet. Like they don't know if you're going to hire you as their agent, but we know they're moving. A marketing qualified lead, we don't know if they're even moving. We just know they're put up their hand. So we've narrowed it from general public to here's a smaller group of people that are more likely to want to do business with us. So what we're trying to do is I take the marketing qualified leads, identify these sales ready people, and then try and convert those. So when you hear people talk about like, oh, I want quality leads, they're generally referring to a prospect, which is a sales qualified lead, versus a lead, which is really a marketing qualified lead. And it's an important distinction to know when you're doing online marketing, which campaigns you're running are generating which of these options. And with social, a new follower is a new lead. This is an important mindset shift to make, is if you get a new follower on your social, that is someone putting up their hand and saying, I'm interested in real estate. Because people generally aren't going to go follow a realtor unless they have an interest in real estate. So don't think of it as just like, oh, cool, I got a follower, and then hope. It's like, what do you do if you get a lead anywhere? You have to reach out to them. And that's one that a lot of people don't do. And what's great on social media right now is discovery feeds. So this started largely in part due to TikTok. And if you've been spending time on social, you will have seen this shift over the last couple of years. And it's only accelerating at a faster rate because it's going so well for the social media companies. Is only about half of your feed at most are people you follow. The rest is things that they think that you're going to enjoy. And basically what they're doing is they're taking all the data of what you watch and what do people like you watch, what do they like. Well, if these people who are very similar to you on social like this video, you'll probably like it too. And they're just going to constantly be giving you and allowing you to discover new content from people you don't follow. And this is an amazing tool for businesses because what it means is if you do the content the right way, you can get it in front of ideal people that don't even follow you yet. And that is a huge, huge win. Like the discovery feeds is something we should all be very, very thankful for because organic social was actually kind of going the way to be really tough to get in front of people. And this has made it a lot easier. And so that means if you want to do social well organically, you're going to have to create some content. And right now that's mainly Reels and TikToks. They're going to be the best to get in front of people you don't know. But this doesn't have to be like the dancing content and like, you know, some stuff that you might think is really cheesy. You can create content in a way that you're comfortable with. And like, for example, if you follow me on social, so like you can see my right there, my handle, you'll see like the Reels that I post, which do really well for us, generally are just me grabbing my phone. It's almost like I'm FaceTiming. It's very, very simple, very straightforward, very easy. You don't have to make this complicated system. Like I create each of these videos anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes. Like it's a very quick process to create these, and it does drive results the way that we want. And this is which a lot of times is short form videos. So like typically I try to make them under a minute. I know with Reels you can go up to, I believe it's 90 seconds right now. TikTok keeps making it longer and longer that you can upload. That's just something that's happening. They're kind of making it longer and that you can go. But we want short. So you don't have to do really long form content. We can talk about long form content another time because there's a time and place for that. But short form videos work really well. The shorter they are, typically the better, as long as they have good value. My sweet spot has kind of been 45 to 55 seconds because like we've done a few shorter, but to get a good point across in a way that adds value to people, a lot of the way that I do it, it's harder to do that in 20 seconds. So we find going to 45, 55 kind of gives us a little bit extra range to get something of value across to people. And here's how we structure our content. We have a hook, then we deliver the content that fulfills the hook, and then we have a call to action. I don't put a call to action in every single video, just quite a few of them. And I'm testing putting them in more to see how that goes. But you need a hook. And all the hook is something that gets people attention to want to stop and watch the video. This is something that we test all the time. I'm paying attention to. Like, this is actually one of the main reasons I spend time on TikTok is to see what hooks are working, because that's probably one of the most effective places to see what hooks are out there and what's getting traction. And it just gets people to want to watch the video. And these can be kind of fancy, bigger style hooks, or it could be as simple as like one that we tried for a bit that worked really well, was just saying, okay, so. Because we've found that when you say, okay, so, it gets people to kind of lean in and want to hear more about that video. So we're kind of always looking at what is something happening right now that is driving results for us. And we've always found that that okay, so model has worked really well. So we do that quite a bit. Again, it works. But there's different ways that you can do hooks. So like an easy one is you can just say at the beginning, here's the top 3 things we look for when identifying homes to flip. So if we want to do a topic about this, because our ideal clients like to flip homes, we'd open the video and just be like, hey, here's 3 things that we look for in a home when we're viewing it to try to flip it out. Then you just give the content. You'd be like, first thing is this, second thing is this, third thing is this. Simple, no extra fluff. You make it as simple as you can, as quick as you can, you give them value. And then at the end, you can be like, DM me the word flip to get a list of homes for sale on the market right now that make great flips. The reason I don't necessarily put like the homes themselves in it is they could be seeing this video 3 weeks from now. And now it could be outdated because they might not be on the market anymore. By not putting the specific time-sensitive things in the ad, they can always send it. But because you might have multiple things like this out there, you want to give them a word related to what you're doing. Because if I just said DM me homes to get a list of homes for sale that make great flips, if 3 weeks from now I'm talking about homes with pools, and I say DM me the word pools, that or DM me the word homes, I don't know which one they're referring to, the flip or the pool. So I always grab a word that would, no matter when they message it to me, the context allows me to respond to them appropriately. And I don't automate this part, I do it manually. So like if I say, like if you see one of my videos and I say something like, hey, DM me the word webinar, that's always just me manually giving you the link back. That's how some of you are actually on this webinar now, is I put one out there saying, join our webinar. Super simple. And on your social, you also want to show that you're a complete person. If you're all real estate all the time, then they're not looking at you necessarily like a person. They're more looking at just the real estate thing, right? So you want to show them there's a complete person behind it. And there's a very specific way we do that, which is we post about 3 buckets of content. So bucket 1's always real estate. You always, every time you post, like all your posts should, or not all of them, but a lot of them should be related to real estate. If they're not, then obviously what are you doing as a realtor on social? And then the other 2 can be anything. These are the things that, one, you enjoy, and kind of shows you're a complete person. So like for mine, I'll often do like my family is one, show that I'm a family person. And then the third, I do kind of rotate it between like basketball, mountain biking, different things like that, but more like hobbies that I have. But you just need to pick ones for you. And they're things that you're comfortable sharing about yourself. Like you don't have to share anything about your family. Like I have seen people who have done it really well with things like one bucket obviously being real estate. The second bucket was aviation. The third bucket was cooking. They really liked cooking. So they shared videos of them flying, stuff about their plane, sometimes how they incorporated the plane into what they were doing. And then other times they're doing it with, hey, check out this meal I cooked, or here's how I found out how to do that. Like, you're getting to know them as a person, and they might not have shared a single real thing about their private life besides the fact that, yes, they like flying, and 2, they like cooking. Like, that's not hard to share things like that without kind of getting people into your private life too much. So it's about finding that balance for each person. Some people, open book, everything's out there. Other people, it's very, very narrow, and that's okay. You don't have to share a ton about your personal life to get results on social, but you still want to show that there's a complete person outside of the real estate side. So just think about in your life, what are things you're comfortable sharing? And that will help a lot. And we'll go to the next one. So, and the best place for me to share those extra buckets are in stories. So stories go away. They're only around for about 24 hours. We typically want to see about 3 to 5 stories a day go out. And that, again, is one that we do quite a bit. So 3 to 5 stories a day. Generally, this is where we stick most of the other 2 buckets. Once in a while, we throw those in the feed too, but most of the time, we're just putting that in stories so that they see them. And here's kind of just as a rough guide, stuff you can post that works really well. Motivational stuff. Again, motivational works really well. Has to fit your brand. Like, I don't personally post a lot of motivational because I've never been someone who posts a lot of motivational content. But stuff that's about improving your business, right? So people want to know that the people they're looking to hire are always trying to get better at what they do, right? You're always leveling up. So share, like you're on a webinar right now to improve your business. That's something you can share. You're in a sales meeting at your office. Share that. You're at a conference. Share that. Like there's a lot of conferences coming up in September. Like I think I'll be in Calgary at the Royal LePage one and a couple others in September. Those are really great opportunities to share what you're doing to improve the business. I mean, you're not going to necessarily go show the parties that happen outside the conferences, but you're sharing like the sessions and what you're doing, how it relates back to doing a better job for your clients. Those are really good ones to share. Other good things to share, just positive habits that you're doing in your life. And that can be very different for different people. Fast story time. So something comes up, tell a quick story about what happened. I personally, unless your clients are very comfortable, I change like the name, certain details that make it hard to identify maybe who it is, but you don't change any of the details that changes like the core of the story. So as long as the story itself is the same, it's okay to change the minor details that don't impact the outcome. But you do want to make those adjustments as you go. And then testimonial content. And this doesn't have to mean that it's like a actual testimonial from a client. Testimonial content in this context means show people you've successfully worked with clients. This could be you putting a rider on. It could be, something related to an offer night, but show them that you've worked with clients and they're having general success with you. But again, it doesn't have to be a direct testimonial from the client. Really, it's just show that you're out there, show that you're working, show that you're having success. And you can obviously combine, especially like the story time with testimonial content a little bit. And then a big one is promoting things that are local. You're the ambassador for the community on social. Really easy way to do it. So promote local things that you're enjoying. And then just also be a cheerleader for the community, right? Like you want to have people come to yours and be like, hey, this is a person who loves our area and they're always championing what's going on in it. It's a really effective way to get them to like you. Like some of the most effective conversion things I did when I sold were things that I just like helped the community with different things and was out there helping people out unrelated to real estate. And a lot of people just wanted to book appointments because they were thankful for what I was doing there. So I always look to like cheerlead local, promote local. Like I would do a Christmas light competition every year and have other local businesses sponsor, in the sense of like sponsor prizes for the top winners. And we promoted that. We never talked about real estate at all. And I got more listing appointments and stuff like that than I ever did from most of my other stuff because I just was there supporting the community. But a lot of the business, if you're going to get results, is going to be happening in the DMs. So if you talk to anyone who consistently gets business on social, they're happening in the DMs. So if you open up, let's use Instagram as the example. You open up Instagram, you click on the DM section. If you're not regularly having new conversations that you see in there, that's probably why you're not getting clients. Is you're not getting enough people in there and having enough conversations. That's where you have to go. Like everyone I know who gets consistent business from social, they're doing it over DMs. So if you get a new follower, DM them. We talked about earlier, a new follower is the same as a lead. You want to DM them. And you want to keep this one really simple. So we do something like this. Hi, thanks for following me. Did you follow to learn more about real estate in, so I'll use myself because I'm in Newmarket, learn more about real estate in Newmarket, or are you planning to move soon? It's a very easy introduction, mutually agreeable fact, easy to answer question. Keep it simple. If they say, oh, I'm just looking to learn a little bit more about real estate, be like, great. Is there any specific topics you'd like to learn about? I'm happy to, always looking to hear what people want content about. But if they say they're planning to move, you move right into qualifying, right? But if they're not saying they're planning to move soon, you're not going to go into any hard sell at this point. You're just be like, great. Well, looking forward to staying in touch, kind of get a more regular, down to earth conversation going. But if they indicate they're looking to move, then you move them to that next step. If someone comments on your stuff, don't be afraid to DM them. Like I would respond to the comment on it and then DM them. Again, related ideally to the comment that they made. And you're not going hard into sales pitch mode at the beginning because right now we don't know if they're in the market to move. All we know is they put their hand up a little bit interested. Like if they comment on a listing and they say something, be like, great, did you just find that, that view of that listing really cool? Or are you actually in the market to buy a house? Right? Like you ask them a very easy to answer question that almost gives them a little bit of an out if they need it. New story view, DM them. Just this one we're always careful about. If someone views your stories, don't call it out that that's why you're DMing them when you do, because if you say it, then they'll sometimes stop watching your stories. But if you see someone's engaging more and like watching a lot of your stories and you've never interacted with them, just take it as an opportunity to reach out to them. Say, hey, I've seen your name around on social. Just out of curiosity, are you generally curious about real estate, or are you looking to make a move? There's this question here. What is a DM? Sorry, should have explained that. A DM is a direct message. So this is like you're going on social and opening up a one-to-one private conversation with someone on social. So, most platforms, they call it a DM, direct message. Sometimes it's a private message, but basically it's a one-to-one conversation that no one else can see. It's just the two of you. Because a lot of people don't like to have conversations like in a comment section because they're not going to be as open if everybody can see it. But in the DMs, people are a lot more likely to have a real honest conversation with you. So you got to DM a lot of people, and that's kind of the goal. And if you're not ready to ask people for the business outright today, because a lot of people just aren't comfortable being like, are you planning to move soon? Just start conversations, because inevitably what will happen if you have enough conversations, they will come back to real estate. This always happens. They always come back to real estate because everyone's always constantly asking, how's the market? What's going on in the market? And that can be a really easy one. Be like, oh, here's what's going on in the market. Are you just curious, or are you going to be planning to make a move soon? You don't have to go hard for the business out of the gate with anyone, because that will turn some people off. And then as soon as they identify, so like when you get that lead in, they respond to you. You want to qualify them in there. So remember we talked about before where it's like a lead versus a prospect and MQL versus SQL. So if they're a lead, so all they've done is put up their hand saying they're somewhat interested in this topic. We don't know if they're moving yet. Until you know if they're moving, don't move them out of the DMs. Keep them there. Keep them direct that message going, because now they're responding. Once you find out that they're going to be in the market to move and there's a chance they'll hire you, now you move it to either a phone call, and if you can go straight to the in-person, great. But you're going to try and qualify them there before you move them to the next step. And this is one where a lot of people jump this too quickly, where they go straight to, well, let's set up a phone call. Well, all these people did was put up their hand somehow on social media. They're not ready for that phone call yet. So your ideal here is you want to do what we call the Dean Jackson 5-star prospect. So are they friendly? Are they willing to engage with you? Do they know what they want, when they want it, and want your help to do that? If you can answer those 5, so friendly and engaging is very easy. That's just, are they answering? And are they doing it in a friendly manner and not telling you where to go? Do they know what they want, when they want it, and they want your help to do it? If you can answer those 5 with someone, you know they're qualified and it's worth your time to jump on a call with them. But if you can answer those 5 things as quickly as you can in the DMs, that's how you know they've moved from being a lead to a prospect. And doing this, you will lose followers. I want to make this clear. Like, you will get a new follower, you'll message them. Some people will just unfollow you. Some people will stop responding once you ask for the business. That's part of being in sales. Like, you door knock, there's people who are going to close the door in your face, tell you to leave them alone. You cold call, people will tell you to stop it. You send emails, people say, unsubscribe me. They won't answer you. That's part of the job. The goal here is you're sending enough messages and you're doing this enough that it's outpacing the number of people who stop following you. But that's okay, because if they're not going to even answer a simple question, they're not going to do business with you. So you refine this approach and don't worry about losing followers. As long as I have a net new amount of followers, I don't worry about this at all. Don't take it personally. My personal recommendation, don't get any of those apps that tell you who specifically unfollowed you. It's more of a mental thing. But just ignore unfollows for the most part, unless you're seeing like massive drops and you're not replacing it, then you look at it. But as long as you're seeing the number of followers are like like people who live locally, that's what you want. Because you don't want like bot followers. Those don't matter. And here's what you should be doing every day: minimum 5 new DMs. Like, when I got in real estate a dozen years ago, my broker was always saying, like, you got to be belly to belly. Here's a phone book. You got to call this many people a day. Spend this much time door knocking, prospecting. This is your form of prospecting if you want social to work. You have to commit that every day you're doing at least something. And I always say, like, this is 5 new DMs a day is the minimum. But if you spend time and you're opening up as many conversations as you can with people, it will drive results. Like, you're having conversations, it's going to drive results eventually. And a lot of what you're doing content wise is to give yourself more people to message, and a lot of people don't do that. And until you start getting consistent inbound DMs, you're going to be sending them outbound. So what I mean by that is, when you're doing like the video example I mentioned before of like, hey, here's 3 ways to identify a home to flip. Like when we look at one, DM me the word flip to get a list of good homes to flip on the market right now. People will start sending you the word flip, and you can start getting 5 conversations minimum a day coming to you, and instead of you having to go manually go out to them. But until you get to that point that you're getting enough inbound, you're going to be the one sending them outbound. But that's the beauty of socials. When you're doing it really well, you're going to get to a point where you're going to have start people reaching out to you more, and you can more just respond as they come in and go through the process. You don't have to send them as outbound. At the beginning, you have to kind of over index and send more manually, but that will change over time if you're doing it right. And the goal here is we have to stay in as many people's last 50 interactions on social. So let's simplify the social media algorithms for a second. Everyone talks about how complicated it is, how much work it is, and staying on top of the algorithms. Don't worry about the day-to-day changes in an algorithm generally. All you need to worry about is you have to be in someone's last 50 interactions, because the next content you see is going to be based on the last 50 interactions you had. So that's a huge driver. It's just like they interacted with these people recently, that's who they're going to want to see more content from. So your goal is to be in as many people's last 50 interactions as possible. That's when you really start seeing it up. Because like what some people do is they'll get, new followers, they'll engage with them and then ignore old people. And now those people stop engaging with you because they're not in your last 50 anymore. So your goal is to stay in as many people's last 50 interactions as possible so that they keep seeing your content all the time. And there's specific metrics we track to know if we're being successful or not here. And it's these ones. So we have a spreadsheet. If you want a copy of the spreadsheet that I created, just DM me spreadsheet or engage spreadsheet on Instagram, and I'll send you our Google sheet. You can just have it, and then you can fill it out yourself. But I basically track these things every week. How many impressions that we got on the content that we did, how many saves and shares happened. So I don't generally care about comments and likes. Like, yes, they're good, but saves and shares tell you that people are finding your content valuable, right? So like if I have a week where I have 100 saves, 100 shares, and the next week I'm at 5 shares, 5 saves, I know I have to model the content after the week before, not the week before. Because like likes, a lot of people will just do them. Just say, oh, I know that name. I'll double tap like to support them, but doesn't mean they liked the content. So it's one of those like false impressions you're getting if you're tracking likes and comments. Like I want as many saves and shares as I do likes at a minimum. Obviously, I'd rather my saves and shares be higher than my likes or comments. But in an ideal world, it's at least at a 1-to-1 ratio there. But this is your best indicator that your content's resonating people, is how many times it's been saved or bookmarked, or how many times it's been shared out to other people. And if you can optimize for that type of content, that's when you know you're going to win. And then you want to track how many new followers you're getting every week. I don't worry too much about like how many followers I'm losing each week, and that will happen. Sometimes it's just bot accounts going away, different things like that. But as long as I'm generally always gaining overall, I just track each week how many new followers I got, because that's another way. Like I want to see saves and shares and new followers. That's how I know my content's really hitting people really well. So that's that kind of first batch of content that I do, is I want to see how many people are seeing my content, how many saves and shares, and then how many followers. Because sometimes you might see, hey, I had less saves and shares this week, but maybe your impressions were down. So is it kind of like that save and shares ratio to impressions about the same? You just need more people to see it. Then you know what to work on, is you got to get it in front of more people. But if your impressions are the same and your save and shares went down, it means your content's not as relatable to people. So again, you're tracking to see which is driving the most. And then was your content now good enough that those people are like, yes, I want to see more? That's where a lot of your new followers will come in. So again, you want to click on new followers. Great. I want to see how many I got. Instagram is great for telling, because it has it all in a little dashboard if you have a creator account. Then track how many DMs you send every day. Again, super simple. It's just how many DMs did I send out to people. Then you're going to track how many people actually responded to them. You want at minimum a 25 to 30% response rate. So if you message 10 people, you need at least 3 of them to respond to you. Ideally, it's 5 to 7, but you want responses. And if you're anything under 3, so if you send out 10 DMs and 3 or less respond to you, then you need to change your approach. So that means like how you're wording your intro and how you're wording that initial message isn't the right way to word it for based on what you're doing. So that's how you know. This is how we measure how good is that opening based on how many people actually respond to it. Because our main goal with that first DM is just to get the conversation started. And then from those conversations, how many meetings were you able to book? That could be a phone call. That could be an in-person meeting. That's a little bit up to you to decide there. But you really do want to optimize for that. And again, really important. So these are what we will track. And if you track these things and always work at making them better, your business will grow from social. That's it. But they're all connected. This is something I've thought about a lot of like how this flow works and how to like which one's changing is what we need to optimize next. But if you start tracking this, and I want you to track it starting today, right? Like start tracking it now, because even if you don't necessarily like implement the social selling system right away, you're getting a baseline. You're going to say, okay, here's where I am today before I start doing anything. Here's how my numbers are changing as I go through a program and start getting more stuff come through. But track these 6, and if you do, you'll watch your social media grow. And if you're not tracking anything, then you're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and hoping something sticks over time. It's not going to be as effective as if you actively track it as you go through. So what we're talking about here is discovery content. So that's the stuff, the discovery content that goes in your feed, your short form videos, and those are going to drive as many DMs as possible. And then once they're in your DMs, you're going to qualify them. So you're going to try how many of these leads are prospects, and then you're going to nurture them long term. This is with like your different buckets of content that we talked about, showing you're a complete person, and then you're moving into the close. And nurture content is really important because a lot of people might find out they exist. So like you hear a lot of people talk about like know, like, and trust. Well, a lot of people talk like know, like, and trust is one word. They're like, you got to get the know, like, and trust, know, like, and trust. But those are actually 3 individual phases, right? Like first they get to know you, then they get to like you, then they trust you. And there are cases where that can happen really fast. For others, it takes time. Like everyone here probably has someone they know in their life that they know them, they like them, but they wouldn't necessarily trust them in business or with their money. That's what we want to make sure you're getting towards, is that they get to know you with the discovery content, your nurture content gets them to like you, and then your DMs and your conversations is going to get them to trust you long term. And then we go for the close. So second, we know that someone is qualified, and by that I mean they know what they want when they want it, and they want your help to do it. We're going to move them off social at that point. We're going to get them into our CRM. We're going to get them into all our other stuff, bring them into our normal world, but don't take them off social until you know that they're not just a lead, that they're a prospect. And if you keep doing this regularly, you'll start seeing a lot of results. Again, it works. Today, right now, what's working is discovery feeds and DMs. This is what we're seeing all the time, is discovery feed to DMs. If you basically track, I'm going to try and get as many content in front of as many people as I can using the discovery feeds that are out there. And then I'm going to drive as many of them my DMs, your business will grow. Tomorrow, this could change. Like 5 years ago, discovery feeds weren't really a thing. And organic social was getting a lot harder. And kind of now that they started bringing these out, to be honest, it's actually made it almost, social's kind of going back the other way, where it's almost a little bit easier now to start getting business again from it. So you want to look at how can I take advantage of what it is now, and then if it does change in the future, that's okay. You just have to find the new way to adapt to it. But right now, it's discovery feeds and DMs is the most effective way to consistently get business. Like I said, we're not here to help you become an influencer. That's not my model. That's not what I've seen work time and time again with different people. There is a way to make that model work, but it's not for me. But we're here with the content we're putting out to help you get sales. That's basically our goal. Whether you have 200 followers, 500, 1,000, 10,000, we're here to help you get sales. And we have a program we call Engage, It's a brand new program we launched at the beginning of July that basically our aim with it is to help you on social get better results. So we're going to give you the framework, systems, training, and resources to get better at social. And like this is what like will help you along, like that exact framework we showed you today. You can go implement it on your own. Like if you follow what we talked about today, you'll get results. But if you want some help to make sure you're doing it the right way, that's what Engage is for. Is we'll help you make sure you're doing it well and getting the feedback to get results. So the main one, like I mentioned, you can actually post. We have a community area. You can post exactly what you're doing at any time. And our team, like me, Jen, Aaron, a few others, will be there to give you answers, right? So if you're like, hey, here's what I'm thinking of doing. What do you guys think? We'll tell you what to change, what to not change, how to post it, how to go about it. We're there to help you. So you always have a place to get feedback. We're also going to give you kind of prompts. We're not going to give you the posts themselves because you need to personalize it to you. We're going to give you some ideas. We're going to constantly test new things, but we're going to give you kind of the roadmap of hey, here's what you type of things you should be posting. And then you can go about actually just putting your voice onto it because you have to make your content in a way that like, I don't want anyone to be able to like take my content, for example, put their face on it and it works exactly the same. You have to have a little personalization to it so that it stands out for you. And we're also going to give you a ton of other content. It's like a weekly planner, editable Canva templates, follower trackers, content, like basically a ton of stuff that's going to help you with a lot of resources to make sure you're doing it well. Again, we're going to give you trends. So like we stay on top of all the trends that are happening because what we found was a lot of our clients just were overwhelmed trying to stay on top of what all the trends are. So we do that for them. And then we just post what are some of the interesting trends that we're seeing with some ideas on how to take advantage of it. And then we're also going to talk about like, here's, the daily drivers in your social media that you got to do. So if strategy needs to change because things are changing out there, we'll work with you to make sure that those change too and that we keep you up to date on what works best. This program, though, it's not for you if you're just looking for a magic bullet. We want people who are willing to take action and actually go along with it. So we're looking for a smaller group of people who want to get results from social. We're not just trying to get everyone into it. Again, if you're just looking for that silver bullet that just, press the easy button and it works. No, this is going to take some work. It's going to take time. And we'll help you with it. You can start getting client or at least get the conversations and leads going fairly quickly. But this is not an overnight thing. Like no program truly is. And if you're looking for that, this probably isn't right for you. Typically, it's going to be a $397 a month investment. Because we just launched it, we're doing a founding members program. And so if you take action today on it, we're going to give it to you for $297 a month with that price never changing. Or if you want to commit to a little bit longer, it's going to be $1,000 for 6 months and then $297 a month after that. So you can pick which of those you would like to do. It can be one or the other. And I'll actually put a link in the chat for those interested. So if you are interested in it, you can join. I'll also stick around and answer any questions about it as well. And there is a question here. How many posts in general should be going up per platform a day on your feed, not including stories? I feel like too much overwhelms followers. So a great question about it. So one, I think most people should be sticking to one or two platforms at the beginning until they're consistently getting clients from it. If you're kind of trying to be on all the platforms at once, typically then you're kind of half-assing them a little bit. It's better to stick to like one or two, nail them, start getting results, and then going from there. Now, there's not really a limit on how many posts you can put out a day. Like you're not going to overwhelm followers because like they're not like, especially with reels, for example, 50 to 60% of who sees your reels are going to be new people that don't follow you yet. But typically I would say like you want one reel a day, Monday to Friday is good. Stories should be about 3 to 5. But if you put out a post every day, again, super simple posts, these don't have to be complicated. But don't worry about how much should be going out. Like, yeah, if you're posting every 20 minutes, that's a problem. But if you're doing one a day, you're good. I would say like you can be comfortably putting out 3 posts a day and not be overwhelmed. But I think if you start doing that at the gate, you will be overwhelmed with the amount of stuff you're creating out there. Where at the beginning, we just want you to get in the habit of posting a regular reel. There are definitely going to be other types of posts to put out there, but at the beginning, keep it simple. And again, don't worry about overfollowing. Like, for example, if you put out a post today, you'll probably get a couple hundred views at most. Your first couple, like it doesn't. We're not gonna come out of the gate and getting you 50,000, 100,000 views on your videos. Like not everyone who follows you is even gonna see your first round of content. Like for example, I have about 2,200 followers on my Instagram right now. I maybe get 3, 4, 500 views on a video. So even a lot of my followers don't see all my content yet. So I can even post them regularly and see how that goes. What is the best time of day to post? So yeah, that can change a little bit. Like I've generally found for me, the morning has worked better. But that's just one you test, to be honest. Like I like to post in the morning because then it, especially with Reels, gets more traction throughout the day that way. But it can be like, depending on who your audience is and you're going after, when are they on social the most? And in your analytics, I'm actually tell you that type of answer about your audience. But again, I don't overthink that at the beginning. Like, don't worry. Like until you're kind of getting results consistently, what time of day to post doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme. So today, like just post when you're ready to post. And then, yeah, as you're getting results consistently, then you look to those little fine-tuned things to get better results. But at the beginning, just post. Like, if your post is ready at 8 a.m. every day, just by coincidence of that's happened when you have the best time to shoot a reel, then post it every day at 8 a.m. Don't overthink that side of it yet. A lot of people get too caught up in the weeds. And I think you don't need to worry about anything like that until you're kind of now optimizing it to get the best. And Peter says, I found the 1 p.m. on Tuesday is the most effective time. Yep, might be. I mean, that's when I found 1 p.m. is the best time for webinars because that's what we do. And we found that's our best time for both people registering and people actually showing up to them. Like today, I think we had a 40% show up rate. Most webinars are 30%. So it's kind of in the right range there. But again, it's a testing thing. Like if you primarily work with like shift workers, you're in an area with a lot of shift workers and they're working overnights or longer 12 to 12 type things, it could be different. If your primary audience are families, it's going to be different than if you primarily sell condos to single people, right? Like who your audience is, it kind of will dictate the best time. And this is just also getting to know your clients. And if you're out there with your ideal clients, feel free to ask them, like, just out of curiosity, what time of day are you mostly on social? Some of the best answers you get are not looking at data like that. It's like anecdotally asking people that you know. Again, super effective way to do it. But I always mention, if you're interested in Engage, we're always there to answer your questions. I'm not going to answer at like 2 a.m. on a Tuesday or anything like that. Within business hours, we're always there to answer questions. You get an app on your phone. You can go in there and post out anything you want, but our goal is we're there to support you so you can focus on selling homes. Just sell homes. That's our goal. We want to help you get results on social. So if you're willing to put in the work, like I said, regularly we're going to price this at $397 a month. But for those who are joining now, it's $297 a month, or you can do $1,000 for 6 months and then $297 a month. And for people who are coming in as a founding member, we're never going to raise your price. It'll stay there forever, but soon we're going to be raising that just to $397 and going from there. Again, right now we want people who come in and engage and get this going with us, and we're really excited about it. I'm not in social. Can you help me? Yeah. So if you're not on social yet, we can help you kind of get up and running. But the way this program is designed is that it's for people both at the beginner and the more advanced level to actually start getting clients from it. Just if you're not on social and really doing anything yet, I'll just take a little bit longer, right? Like you got to get that momentum going, get things started. But it's going to be a little bit longer to get that start going, but it will work. But just be very realistic. If you haven't done anything on social before, it's going to take longer than someone who already has some traction on there. Are there any more questions I can help with? All right. So again, if you have anything that comes up and you want to join, the link's in the chat. Click on there. If you have any issues, let us know. If you have questions about how all this works, just DM me, Andrew Foliato on Instagram. Shoot me a message. If you follow me first, it's going to less likely end up in my like hidden folder that I don't see. So hit the follow, then send me a DM if you have any questions. Do you help with YouTube videos as well? So we do talk about YouTube on there. So the main goal with the social selling system is that it can actually work across every platform. and then there's just like some minor edits depending on the one there. So we will give you tips on YouTube. Like we have people on our team who do a lot on YouTube as well, who are going to be in there. But yes, it does work for there. I mean, right now we're seeing the best results for people doing this on Instagram, but like even a lot of people we know who do YouTube really well will still drive people to do a DM on Instagram. So like their YouTube videos drive Instagram DMs. But that can be part of the strategy as you're building it out, like what makes the most sense for you that way. And that's, again, part of the process. Where am I located? I'm in Newmarket, Ontario. So if you know where that is, it's about, depending on traffic, it could be anywhere from 35 minutes to an hour north of Toronto. So yes, I am Canada. So everything we're talking about here, this is built for Canada. If we do have some Americans on the call, yes, this does work in the US. It's been built and tested for people in Canada. That's where I work. That's where I've always done business. Almost all of our clients are Canadian. I also own real estate. So for those in Canada, I also own Real Estate Magazine. If you didn't know that, if you don't read REM yet, you should also go read REM. It's my other business. But yeah, so that's our goal, is just to help you. This is what we tried and true. It works in Canada. I know we have a lot of Royal LePage people on this call. I'm also going to be presenting this at your sales conference in Calgary in September. So I'll be there, and I'll also be offering free audits on your social if you donate to the Shelter Foundation while I'm in Calgary. So if you're going to be at the sales conference in Calgary, otherwise I'm always so happy if you, so I know like, oh, we got some people here with Remax as well. So the Remax people, if you want a free audit from me on your social, show me you donated to, for you guys, it's CMN. So if you donate to CMN, if you're Royal LePage, you're not gonna be at the conference, but you still want us to audit your social, just screenshot a donation to the Shelter Foundation if you're Remax to CMN. If you screenshot us proof that you've donated recently to either of those, I will do a free social audit and give you some options to how to improve. So you can either DM me with that proof or at Just Sell Homes on Instagram, and we'll help you out. But you have to just show that you donated to whichever one's associated. And if you're with a different brand, you just got to show that, and could be any charity. It's fine. Just donate to a charity, and we'll do a free social audit. Sound good? All right. If you guys have any questions, please reach out. We're always happy to answer. Hope a few of you join Engage. I think it'll be a really effective way and actually get results for you. But at the end of the day, we only want you to join if you're going to take action and follow it along. There's no point in buying a program, jumping in, and then not doing anything. Not good for either of us. But I appreciate you guys taking the time today. Look forward to seeing you guys soon. And again, if you have any questions, just shoot me a DM on Instagram, and we'll go from there. Again, appreciate your guys' time, and we'll chat soon. I'll send out the replay if you guys want to watch it again. And we'll keep this offer open for a little bit. So if you guys do want to take a day or two to think about it, we'll make sure this offer is still available for a couple days. And then we'll go from there. But anyways, appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye.